at Staples Center to battle LeBron and the Lakers. Our coverage begins with NBA Countdown tonight at 7 on ESPN and the app.
SportsCenter right now, I'm Antonieta Collins with news out of Philly. We have more clarity on what's been going on with the health of Sixers guard Markelle Fultz. He's dealing with thoracic outlet syndrome. The condition has to do with compressed blood vessels and nerves, resulting in abnormal function, movement, and range of motion that has limited Fultz's ability to shoot a basketball. Our insider Adrian Wojnarowski was on Get Up this morning with the latest on Fultz's therapy plans.
Fultz will stay in California. He was out there for his most recent appointment, and he will begin his therapy in Los Angeles, across the country from the Sixers. I talked to his agent, Raymond Brothers, last night, who was the one who wanted him to go meet with these specialists over the last 2 weeks. He expressed a great confidence that they've got to the root of the problem that has plagued him throughout his career, that the therapy will get his shot back. And as he said to me, people have believed that this was mental, this was psychological. And as he believes that this has been a physical problem, I think there's a little more skepticism within the Sixers on that.
For more, here's First Take.
All right, so you just heard it. The former #1 overall pick, Markelle Fultz, expected to miss 3 to 6 weeks as he undergoes physical therapy on that shoulder. Sources telling our Adrian Wojnarowski, who you just heard from. Stephen A., how does the process look now?
Awful. And I don't say awful in terms of Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, because obviously it looks very, very legitimate in that regard. It's awful, but let's be very, very clear. Sam Hinkie, the former general manager for the Philadelphia 76ers, who was dismissed from that role and replaced by Brian Colangelo, looks good here because it's not his fault that it's this bad right now. I think a legitimate argument could be made that in all likelihood he would not have drafted Markelle Fultz, that he's somebody that would have grabbed a Jason Tatum or De'Aaron Fox, or probably not a Markkanen or a Dennis Smith or Donovan Mitchell, because they came a little bit later on in the draft. But those are just the players that in the same draft class as Markelle Fultz who went after him, including Lonzo Ball. And right now, it appears to be the biggest bust in NBA history. I don't recall, even with Kwame Brown, Michael Olowokandi, and others, I don't recall a #1 overall pick in the NBA draft being this bad. I think the only thing this glaring, this conspicuous, Max, might have been Sam Bowie being taken.
I got one for you. You're forgetting one.
In 19. Yeah,
Anthony
probably
Bennett.
am forgetting one, but
Anthony
I will say
Bennett.
this. Anthony, yeah. But even Anthony Bennett, well, we just discovered that he couldn't play, but at least he had a season or two to prove that he couldn't play. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this guy, Markelle Fultz, has been very, very bad. Now, watching Kevin McHale and Isaiah Thomas yesterday, and I'd advise everybody, I mean, I don't get to watch it much, but any chance you get to watch Isaiah Thomas and Kevin McHale, 2 Hall of Famers on NBA TV, I would suggest people strongly do it because they're absolutely sensational together. And Kevin McHale came up with the line of the night when he was talking about, playing bad basketball syndrome or something along that line that he's paraphrasing. But I would tell you that, none of us are in a position to speak intuitively or intimately about what's messing with Markelle Fultz psychologically, but I can assure you this is not just about his shoulders. And Raymond Brothers, a fabulous agent with a great reputation, he speaks and he's supporting his client and he's getting them away from the Philadelphia 76ers. But it was obviously in the Philadelphia 76ers' greatest interest to do everything that they could to get Markelle Fultz healthy. I'm not saying that he doesn't have a shoulder injury. Please don't get me wrong. I am telling you it is not just about that. This man has some personal demons that are none of our business, that most of us don't know about intimately and probably never will, nor should we. But I will tell you it is not just about his shoulder. This young brother's got some issues. He's got some problems, and I sincerely hope and pray that he will overcome it because it is not just his shoulder. He forgot how to play basketball, for crying out loud. He didn't just forget his shot. He forgot how to play basketball in a lot of people's eyes. It is simply that bad, too many distractions or what have you, Max, and it goes far, far deeper than just a messed up shoulder.
Okay, everybody. Gather around, young children. Uncle Max has a science lesson for you. Do you remember me talking several weeks ago about when this, even last year, when this topic first came up, about the difference between potential energy and kinetic energy? Maybe you remember from science class. The process was going along just fine. It wasn't perfect, but sometimes the perfect is the enemy of the good. But it was going along, and they were gathering talent, and the whole point of Sam Hinkie's process was that if you tank, not for a year and try to grab a player, but for like 5 years, the chances are you're going to come along and grab 1 or 2 generational kind of talents, and you will be able to build a sustainable, perhaps dynastic, but certainly powerhouse team going forward. Now, for those who would say, fine, Hinkie, so this is potential energy. You roll a boulder up a hill. See, I even made a little diagram. I don't know if you can see it. There's a little stick figure, and there's the boulder going up the hill. Once you get it to the top of the hill, that's potential energy. You've put in the work. Even if you don't believe that Sam Hinkie was the guy to then, wait, which way am I going? It's backwards for me. To again push it down and let it roll all the way down to realize the potential energy. That's called kinetic energy. Even if you don't believe he was the guy to do it, he wouldn't know when to pull the trigger, what deals to make, fine. Then you replace him with someone who would. What did I say when they hired Brian Colangelo? Mistake, not good, not smart enough, not good enough, period. And what happened? All that potential energy that Sam Hinkie built up was ruined by a bad GM. That is what happened to the process. The process itself, the concept of it was fine. Stink for half a decade to be great for a decade. The problem is the execution was bad because they put the wrong guy in charge, and he passed up on Tatum. Added a pick, a first-round pick, in order to not take Tatum and take Fultz. Stephen A., anything else that's going on with Fultz? They should have done their due diligence.
I keep hearing rap in my ear. Are you guys hearing that too?
Molly, I can pick apart that argument, but Max Kellerman was very slick in this debate, and I think America needs to know it. The producer has been in our ear for the last minute and a half telling us to rap.
We've only been talking for a minute and 3/4. What are you talking about?
You know what I'm saying? You got away with it. You brought up something you know I don't get on you about.
That's segment. I spoke for about a minute and a half.
It's a legit contender, and they added Jimmy Butler. Let's continue this conversation another time because it's good on both ends, and we ran out of time. Thanks for listening to Q's, guys. The Packers have parted ways with Mike McCarthy, but did Aaron Rodgers have a bigger impact on that decision? We'll discuss that when First Take returns. And the Raptors are sitting atop the Eastern